What is up, everyone? It is Lovenji Gaming here, and we are back for the fifth and final game of the Populous at the beginning giving tournament 2020, hosted by Ice, T, and Leaf. Now, as those of you who have watched the VODs or the stream already know, the Tundras have taken the tournament overall with an impressive 3-1 over Team Clean Sweep. Now, Team Clean Sweep are hoping to answer back and take this to, at the very least, a respectable 3-2 score. We're going to be spectating Sponge, who is one of the players for Team Clean Sweep. He's playing as the Dakini tribe. His ally, you know him, you love him, or you hate him, depending. He is also representing Team Clean Sweep. He is the #1 player for the Populous Matchmaker. It is Nisi of the clan Overpowered. Now, their opponents over playing as the Chumara tribe. You have Resurrection of the clan Tas. Some people like to call him Danny, because apparently that's his name. His ally, probably the player who wanted this map the most out of everyone. He's a returning legend of Craters, supposedly. It is Hardware. So, I am going to apologize because these waves are unbelievably loud. That's something I was meant to fix and never did. We've got a wow already. So, Sponge is off to a fantastic start. Or not, as the case may be. This map tends to be quite interesting. It's a very old map. It's part of the classic beginning map pack. I don't know terribly much about it. I know that there's a firestorm in here. And there's a firestorm in here. And I believe these are erodes. But I can never be too sure. Typical standard form of play for Craters is that the green tribe eventually becomes a hyper carry for Team 2. But they take a while to get to that point. And until they get to that point, Team 1 tends to have a much more aggressive advantage in which they try to kill red early on. So, I've never seen that land bridge before. I'm already learning stuff about this map, so you'll have to forgive me. My knowledge of Craters is lower than my knowledge of the other maps. It is a map I really should play more. But as you can see, we've got the Chumaras already working hard on their Firestorm, as are the Matak. This will give you free Firestorms, so it's pretty much guaranteed to get, so you should always pray to it. Now the players are going to look towards making their way towards the middle. Securing the middle is of utmost importance. I still have no idea what's in this Stonehead. I know these are erodes. I don't know if this is also an erode or something equally ridiculous. But we've got a nice land bridge here. Very nice, in fact. I've been told that the middle is volcano, so there you go. Thank you, stream chat. So this is a volcano. We've got erodes here and here, and then the given firestorms, which we've already pointed out. Apparently it also makes the thing that looks like a volcano erupt, so... Good securing of the Wildmen, so it's natural that red and green have made it to the middle first. And they're going to get all these Wildmen, or specifically, all these Wildmen are going to be given over to Nisi. That's a good decision. That's going to vastly escalate the rate at which green can become the hyper carry of the game. It's a strategic decision by Keith's team to put Nisi on the green tribe because the green do become the biggest threat of this map of all 4 tribes. And so putting your best player on the biggest threat gives you the most chance to win. Who knew? But as you can see, land tends to be quite limited. You're going to see a lot of land bridging to various things. This is blue's land bridging to erode, which is typical of blue. Building out the back of the base. Ooh, look at this. This is a unit that has not featured in the tournament at all until now. So, those of you who are new to Populous at the beginning, haven't watched many tournament games, this is the Temple. So this is a unit you will not have seen very much. It produces the Preacher. The Preacher is a powerful unit that can stop any non-Preacher or Shaman and convert them to your side. Preachers can only be stopped by spells, shamans, or other preachers. Of course, those of you watching the stream who are Populous veterans already know what a preacher does and the threat of a preacher. And we've got our first pause of the game. Fantastic. Looking forward to it. So this gives us time to look at the bases. As we can see, Red's built out his front. He's got a warrior hut underway here. He's got his fire warrior hut as is standard. We doing priest says Sponge. Lol. Yes, should be the answer. I would suggest that if a map has something enabled by default, then it is available. I believe priests are a valid strategy. They don't suit every map, but I don't see anything wrong with them in Kratos. But it looks like Blue's building out, and in order to get the preachers, he's had to forgo the much later Fire Warrior hut, so we'll see if it pays off for him. Sponge is a veteran player, so should have no problem dealing with the preachers. But as you can see, the sacrifices that they're making, Green now has this pretty much under control. He'll cover this hill in towers and Fire Warriors, and this pretty much becomes a path that you cannot attack down. More land bridging, going to give himself access to another tree's worth of wood, because Braves get confused by that. Players love this map, and I personally don't get it, because the land shape is weird, and it confuses me, and I'm just not good enough for this map. But let's check the praise. It looks like the first round of firestorms are about to come in for both players. You can hear them trigger there. Yellow's firestorm comes first. Yellow has made no attempt to go towards Erode, so it's just Blue getting Erode at the moment. And both players holding onto a firestorm. We've got Nisi moving forward, threatening to push towards Yellow. And we've got Fire Warriors and Warriors from Sponge. He is expecting Blue to be the aggressor. We can see a Warrior training hut here on the front line for Blue. Fire Warriors being pumped out. Stuck Braves, unfortunately. And Preachers. I'm still waiting to see what these Preachers are going to do for Blue. It's an interesting call, interesting strategy, but we'll see if it actually achieves anything. Or if they just become units that die, like cannon fodder. So, Nisi's doing what Green tends to do. He's got a warrior hut on the front line, but otherwise just building, upgrading, building, and upgrading. He's even building huts on the front line, making his position very difficult to attack. Yellow keeps interrupting his prey, which keeps throwing me off. Blue's still not fixed these Braves that are stuck on the high ground. Got a Preacher at the back of Blue's base. We'll see if he's trying to hide them. I don't think he is, because we've already seen that Sponge is asking if priests are on, which means he's seen them. And here we go. Red is going to be the aggressor onto Blue. Warriors and Fire Warriors come charging forward and attacking. We're going to see a blast out of Sponge, clearing up the Fire Warrior that was on his way to the tower. Now, AvA has not even finished his Warrior training hut. He's got Fire Warriors, he's got Preachers, but he has nothing else. And it looks like Sponge is just going to take the Stonehead for himself, secure his position. No, he's going to push even further forward. He's going to disable the Warrior training hut with a light of his own. Pull his troops back and actually start to secure the land for himself. That's a nice aggressive attack. Meanwhile, we have Nisi on the other front. He connects with his own land bridges. He starts to be the aggressor towards Yellow. Remember, he has got a Firestorm in the chamber from his praying. Meanwhile, Yellow is also attacking Nisi. This map has opened up crazy. All the players are making moves to every different direction. Nisi is under attack. He's got to attack Yellow. At the same time, we've got Red pushing in onto Blue. Blue needs to clear his territory as well. Yellow goes in with his Firestorm to get himself further into the base. He needs to have some damaging spells as well. Meanwhile, we've got Preachers being Preachers, and he achieved next to nothing. He got one of the Warriors killed by proxy. Now we need to see what Resurrection tries to do. Nisi is pushing forward. Nisi is into Resurrection's base. This is going to be a good old-fashioned trade. in the truest sense of the word. We get a nice earthquake out of Resurrection. Meanwhile, the Firestorm does come out from Nisi onto the Fire Warrior training hut. There's action everywhere except for over here. Sponge is just taking the totem away from Hardware. Get involved, Hardware. Try and make something happen. We get more EQs out of Resurrection, more EQs out of Nisi. Damage is being done to both players, but Nisi's got more warriors. And another EQ on the way, and that's going to be on the Warrior training hut as well. If he gets that, yes, this is looking bad for Resurrection because Nisi can now start to troop him out of the game with warriors. Resurrection does have his own warriors. They are in Nisi's base and cutting down the population. Looks like they've killed a lot of pop. Nisi has run a good few men, though, and he's got men over here. So, and Resurrection's made the executive decision to come back to his own base to defend. He kills Nisi, which is going to send Nisi back to his base, but with a delay. His warriors can get plenty of killing done in that time. Nisi's prey was successful, so Nisi now has another Firestorm in the chamber, whereas Nisi has stopped Resurrection's preying. So Resurrection barely has a base left, thanks to the work of the warriors, but he did good in making an aggressive play towards Nisi. Meanwhile, Blue is just making land for himself. This Preacher Hut hasn't really done anything, and that's kind of all I can say about Blue. I can hear Preachers. Red has walked forward, and he has thrown down an aggressive EQ, and it actually cuts Blue off away from his own Stonehead, his own push, and takes out the Warrior Training Hut. And that's crucial, because now Green and Red are just going to double yellow out of the game. Blue is dead, in fact. So this could just be game here and there. Red has warriors pushing towards yellow. Green is also pushing towards yellow. There were yellow warriors dealing damage to Green's population, but look at these large huts. He's not going to mind recovering that pop in any time at all. Meanwhile, we have a Sponge pushing forward, going into Hardware's base. Nice land you made for yourself, but what are you actually going to do with it? He respawns. Lightning comes out onto a Preacher. Don't know if that was intended or not. The Fire Warriors come in from behind. They almost get the kill, but not quite. Lightning from Hardware does find Sponge, and finally, Hardware gets the pressure of Sponge away. His Preachers start to do a little bit of work, but it might just be too little too late, because Nisi's Warriors are pushing into Hardware's base. We're looking and we're seeing that it... Not sure how I feel about this push. You haven't got very many troops to be pushing with. The Fire Warriors are being microed nicely to continuously fire on the Preacher. And they get the Preacher killed. Again, Preachers, they seem overpowered, but sometimes they're really not. Now we have Resurrection's in a position where he has to be dealing with warriors non-stop. They're coming in from both angles, from both sides. He's under constant pressure. Meanwhile, Red has respawned. Blue has died. Preachers will stop the advance, but only for a little bit. These Fire Warriors, if they're microed, will very easily make short work of the Preachers. Just like that. Bad Preachers. And it looks like the decision has been made. Both Shamans are going to double Hardware. Hardware is the only one with a prominent base left. Resurrection is struggling to survive against this many warriors. Ideally, he should get a Preacher Hut up just to stop the trooping. But we've got a double of Shamans coming in. Plenty of... Oh, missed lightning from Sponge, but he does have another light in the chamber. Ooh, Hardware finds the kill onto Sponge, but not before the kill retaliates onto him. Now, Nisi is going to push into the base. Sponge has plenty of troops to get Nisi into the base, but also Nisi has a Firestorm locked and stocked. He needs to be careful of that hut. There are Fire Warriors in there. There goes the Firestorm directly onto the temple. No more Preachers out of you, says Nisi. But his Shaman does go down. At least he gets the temple. The troops can do some damage. Warriors have gone the other way, but are dying to Fire Warriors in the process. Now it looks like Resurrection is barely clinging on. He's got one large hut. He's got two small huts. This is all he has left. Oh, he's got a small hut up here as well, but this is being trooped down by warriors as well. Resurrection is basically out of this game. It's down to Hardware to survive and make a play. But remember what we said when this game began. When this game began, we said green becomes a hyper carry. Green gets more and more powerful as the game goes on. Now green took a little bit of a beating, but green is not out of the game. Meanwhile, the momentum that blue and yellow get is slowly being absorbed. Got plenty of harassment. Fire warriors on the high ground being a little bit of a nuisance. We got a ghost shaman out of sponge. That's nice to see. Where is the real shaman? The real shaman is at the back of the base, hiding a backdoor. Very nicely done. This is the right move. Of course, Hard-Wear is camping at the front. He thinks this is the real shaman. He's making a play for the ghost shaman, but it goes down, and that's not what he wants to see, because right now, there it is. Sponge immediately makes the backdoor connect. He knows Hard-Wear is out of position. He's got 2 earthquakes in the chamber. He could do plenty of damage over here. Sorry, I'm not focusing on the other side of the map because, well, we know Resurrection is slowly dying. Sponge saves himself with a land bridge. EQs weren't the best, but hey, any damage is good damage, and it looks like Resurrection is finally out of the game. He has lost all his population. His huts are down. He is dying to a brave. We will see what's happening, but it looks like they're just going to troop red and blue out of the game. Red and blue. Yellow and blue out of the game. Yellow and blue? Yeah, yellow and blue. I don't know how to cast this map. Everyone's calling GG's. It looks like Resurrection is going to die any moment now. There's a warrior hunting him down. No, the warrior's changed his mind. No, the warrior is hunting him down. No, the warrior's changed his mind once again. So the most exciting bit about this game is whether this warrior will kill a shaman or not. Nice little bit of fancy footwork from Hard-Wear to save himself with the land bridge the first time, but it didn't pay off the second time. 2 shamans in his base. He is going to die. Resurrection is confusing the hell out of these warriors. He might last longer than his ally at this rate. He just keeps confusing these warriors by running around. He's doing what he can. And, oh, Brave doesn't get him. Warriors will. Very nice. That is it. That is the end of this game. GG, smiley face, says Sponge. Yellow is out of the game. All that remains is for Hard-Wear to be finished and slaughtered. So, as predicted, the tournament does go 3-2 in favour of the Tundras. So even though they lost this game, they do win the tournament overall, but it was good for Team Clean Sweep to answer back, bring the tournament to a 3-2. Tournament was as close as the tournament could possibly be. We're calling GG on this game. 16 minutes of craters. I hope I pretended for at least one of those minutes that I knew what I was talking about. And we've got Nisi pushing in with Warriors. Warriors are dismantling all the huts. Blue is making one last noble push with the little pop he has left. Preachers did not pay off. There he goes. Team Clean Sweep are the winner for game number 5.